Just another day of AMC stock falling over 3%. Ladies and gentlemen, what is new? Well, not much, but we're going to get into everything happening today. Short positions continue to increase. Some of the bearish option activity also increasing, but some of the bullish option activity is also increasing. And I really want to hammer this home if I have not already. I know not everyone watches these videos. The end of this month is likely to be a very good time to be an investor of AMC. And that's what I'll stick with. I could be wrong. Keep in mind, I'm not a financial advisor, certainly not a financial planner, and AMC is heavily manipulated. So also keep that in mind. So let's go ahead and dive into all of this information. Tomorrow is also going to be a big day in which we might talk about that a little bit here in this video as well with the Fed. So today in our markets, you were actually quite red at one point. Markets are starting to bounce back a little bit today, but it was quite a red day down here. And this is because China was expected to cut a key interest rate more than they actually did. And they were expecting to cut this rate by 0.15%. They only cut this by 0.10%. And this kind of, I guess, is not good for China, considering a lot of people had higher expectations for their growth this year. Basically, all major Wall Street banks have downgraded China's growth expectations for 2023. And this is just a problem because it leads you closer to a global recession, right? Typically, with China being the second largest economy, either America does well and China does bad, or America does bad and China does good. You usually don't have both economies doing well at the same time because you are such a large portion of global GDP. And if you do get, for an example, if China's growth continues to decelerate this year, if you get a bad China and a bad America, that's not good for global growth, right? Because at least if America's doing somewhat bad, like we're not expected to do well, 1% GDP growth, well, if China's doing well and they're able to buy a bunch of products and continue with the same degree of trade as normal, right? If China is doing good, then it helps offset a little bit of our pain, right? That maybe our economy does a little bit better because China is doing well. So you're getting a little bit more of those global kind of slowdown fears today. And what's interesting is Blinken just met with the Chinese president, and they had a very productive meeting. That went pretty good. So you are seeing quite a few Chinese names that are benefiting from that meeting for a good reason, right? Even something like an Apple or businesses that do a lot of business in China are benefiting from that meeting because after all, they don't have to worry as much about decoupling from China. And that is making some people excited about stocks such as Apple and the likes. So you're getting a lot of weird things kind of happening today in that regard to China. The biggest thing for our markets today is going to be FedEx. Now, FedEx earnings are going to be huge. Markets are hoping that FedEx gives us good earnings. And FedEx is really a bellwether kind of company. If you do not get good earnings from FedEx, then the markets are going to say, whoa, if FedEx has bad earnings, that means people aren't spending as much money. That means other companies are probably going to have bad earnings. So this has direct implications for the totality of our markets. And if they do report good earnings, well, this rally might have legs to continue. If their earnings are really bad, you're going to be in for a massive problem. Now, we really haven't got great earnings out of companies like FedEx, like shippers, as of the last really year. A lot of their costs have been rising. People just not buying as many things. Um, so we'll see. Expectations are pretty high that they're gonna give us about $5 of EPS for this quarter. I think that's going to be a big number to watch, considering last year's EPS number, year over year, last quarter's year over year number was down like 30 some percent. So you definitely want to watch that one for sure. So that's a big story of what today is going to be as well. Now, tomorrow, you're going to get Fed Jerome Powell, and that's really going to be the thing that affects our markets, right? That's going to be the thing where if Fed Jerome Powell wants to cause the markets to crash, he has his chance to do so, right? Now, building permits came out this morning as well. It really didn't give you a big reaction. It came out at 1.491 million. You were expecting 1.42 million, so actually better than expectations. So that should have been good. Building permits month over month came in at 5.2%. And you were expecting 0.6%, so much better than expectations. Housing starts month over month came in at 21.7%. You were expecting negative 1.2%. So basically across the board, housing data came in good. Building permits came in good. And that's kind of a bad thing for what the Fed's trying to do, but it's a good sign for the economy. So it's kind of a mixed picture there. Now, like I said, tomorrow, you're going to get Fed Jerome Powell's testimony at 10 o'clock in the morning. So 30 minutes after markets start to close, you're going to be coming in hot and heavy with Fed Jerome Powell. Then you're also going to get Fed Cook that speaks at the same time, and Fed Jefferson that also speaks at the same time. Fed Goolsbee speaks at around 12:30. Fed Mester speaks at 4 p.m. So these Fed speakers are going to have their chance to kind of set the market straight. If they don't want the markets to rally, they are going to be very hawkish, and they are going to push the markets down, essentially. So that's the biggest threat for our markets this week, as well as with, again, FedEx earnings. Now, as far as AMC is concerned, I really don't understand why the stock is down today, down 4%. There's no bad news coming out. Things look pretty positive with the consumer. There's not a huge reason why this is happening. I think if you really wanted to boil this down, it's a sell the rumor, buy the news kind of event later this month. Right now, markets have already priced in a lot of dilution coming because markets have already priced in this arbitrage trade is going to happen. The conversion between APE and AMC is going to happen. That's how the markets have already priced this in. So when you look at it from that lens, what happens after the catalyst comes? Well, even if it's a bearish catalyst, if it's priced into the markets or priced into the stock's probably going to rally from there. That's why typically the saying is usually buy the rumor, sell the news. This time it's sell the rumor, buy the news, because AMC stock is going to rip after the court date. Maybe it falls initially, right? That's a possibility. Maybe there's a little bit more pricing in left to do. But the stock's probably going to rally after this court date at the end of the month. But leading into that court date, you could get a stronger narrative of sell the rumor before you ultimately get the buy the news. And at that point, if AMC is able to raise up to $16 billion of capital, there is no short thesis left. AMC is not going bankrupt. Odds are AMC is going to be a more profitable company than ever if you look out a year or two from now. There's not a huge reason at that point to be short in AMC stock. Historically, when AMC does raise capital, the stock also does rally. So kind of important to keep that in mind. History is definitely on your side there. Now, the live short interest off free float is sitting at 23.78%, 123 million shares that are currently sold short. Keep in mind, with this arbitrage trade, with the conversion of APE and AMC, the short positions do not go away. There will still be almost 24% of the float that is sold short after the fact. Okay, cost of bar average 227.5%, cost of bar max 269.5%, cost of bar minimum 134.5%. Interactive Brokers short availability has 7,000 shares that are currently available to be traded or lent out, with a 97% cost to borrow fee. So these cost to borrow fees are definitely eating into any potential profits that shorts have right now. Overall, AMC sitting with a short score of 94, $573.5 million worth of short positions in AMC. If you take a look at the days to cover, that is continuing to increase, sitting at 8.69%, which is the big number for AMC. The higher this days to cover number goes, the more squeezable that AMC is, and the more likely you are to actually see a squeeze, right? Now, if we look at what's happening as far as the option activity, face value, it looks very negative, right? And it is negative. And this is probably a reason why AMC is falling quite a bit today. 22 orders totaling $4.06 million with a positive order value of 3%. But you are starting to get some calls that are making their way in here. One call is a January 19th, 2024 $8 call. You've seen this specific strike and expiration being pretty popular with the calls as of recently. This trade was a $110,000 trade. A August 18th $4 call, two of them worth about $25,000 collectively. And that is it. The other option activity has been bearish. What you've seen actually on Friday was a lot more of that bullish option activity, with an August 18th $2 call, a January 17th 2025 $1 call. Both of those orders combined worth over $450,000. A couple orders that were over $1 million, like this one, January 19th 2024. A couple $5 calls in here worth about $160,000. And this big order that came through, a January 19th 2024 $6 call worth $2.13 million. So you're starting to get a little bit more bullish positioning, but the option activity is still very negative as of right now, guys. So that's what I have for you here in this video. I really don't expect much again until the end of this month, and then that's where AMC could really start to rally after the court dates, guys. So that is it. Thank you for watching. Hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, and source your comments, questions, or concerns down below in the comment section if you have not done so already. Thank you for watching, and I will see you in the next one.